For the sake of my YouTube channel and evidence for my court case, I'm now going to just run you through my diary. While I was working for my employer, I had several templates or methods that I used to keep record of my job and the things that I did from day to day. This here was a manual diary. Because the technology system came in, I also had an Excel template at the time I was working with all the cases that I dealt with while I was working as a court registrar. Now, the role that I was in my occupation, I was a deputy registrar for the Ministry of Justice. But the role itself has several names. But through my whole career, working from the Department of Courts and Ministry of Justice, I was a deputy registrar for the courts. Worked in several jurisdictions. My deputy registrar powers, they stay with you until you actually leave the department or it's been removed from you for whatever reason, maybe a disciplinary or something like that. But I was still a deputy registrar for the courts in this year, 2015. So this diary here is actually the diary that kind of was like the last year that I worked for my employer, leading up to me being finally the unfair dismissal case. I'm just going to go through my day as evidence of what I do from day to day, what my week was like. So I'd go into the office early hours, sometimes finishing late, but it just kind of depends what your day was like. So this diary is my manual notes that I keep for myself, and just got what I did for the day while I was working for my employer. It's also evidence to confirm the things that I've said on my evidence on my YouTube channel and Facebook page. So this is actually my original diary, so I will just show a few things and kind of explain the job description basically and what I did while I was working from day to day. So this here was just what I carried every day until I finished at the end of the year. So over here on this side, you'll see, I'll take a picture of it and put it on this clip, this episode. But over here, it's got dates to avoid. The dates to avoid is usually whether it's a public status date, like Good Friday or Anzac Day, Queen's birthday, those kind of dates. And other dates would be if the judges are not residing, or there's no judges for the day, or there's something that is specifically booked out for a day, and we're given those dates as a court registrar to not allocate any dates or any cases to that specific calendar of that month or week or whatever it is. Okay, we'll just go through. Now, let's see. All right, this here is I just had names of different people that I contact regularly, and it was just easier for me just to have a look at it. Sometimes I needed phone numbers to ring in from while I'm in court, and not at my desk in my office, my workstation. So that's why I had to have a manual diary. And here I've got the DX court's address. Okay, so part of my role as a registrar, when I'm dealing with files, whether I'm in court or in the office, if things needed to be transferred to another court, we're responsible, if that file's in front of you, I'm responsible to transfer that file to the other court as instructed by the judge or the community magistrate or the JP. We transfer those files accordingly to these courts. These are the courts in the different regions in my country that they were transferred to. So we're supposed to do that in the computer system, the transfer, and then also transfer the whole file, the original file, to the court, and that usually goes out in the mail either by the same day, or if we miss out the mail for that day, it goes out the next day for obvious reasons, because sometimes we come out of court too late and the mail's already gone for the day. Now I'm looking at January the 14th. I'm covering the names of the cases that I had for this day because I don't believe it's relevant. But usually when you come into court, these names are already out in public for public view, or when the public walks in and they want to see who's in a certain court for the day. And this day I was in a sentencing court, and on that court list it has the name of the judge, the name of the prosecutor, the name of the registrar who's taking the court for the day. So that's automatic public information, and the names of the cases. Any names that's under suppression is blocked out, but other than that, it's for public, for anyone in public to come in and find out whose court case in what courtroom and what time. So that information's already out in the public for you. So on this day, I had a sentencing court day, and I had Judge J. Persing, and I had a police prosecutor, Stuart King, and I was the registrar for this day.
Good morning everyone. Today's date is the 28th of April 2026. That is the video clip of my employment and a diary that I was reading from. I'll put those clips on this YouTube channel for people to access. But basically that's the last year of when I was working for the Ministry of Justice, leading up to my unfair dismissal. So welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. So on my YouTube channel, it has everything personal about me. I am the narrator of this video clip and all my other video clips. So the court case you've been witnessing on my YouTube channel is a real live court case, okay? The case has been going on for, like, this year will be the 10th year for it. But it's currently still two court cases are active at the moment in the Court of Appeal at the moment. So I'm pursuing to have those two cases turned over, and I should hear something from the court soon. So basically what I was just showing you is my diary that I'm just going, that there's 3 episodes. I'll put those links on my Facebook page for everyone to have access to it. But basically I'm just running through what was in my diary when I was actively working for the Ministry of Justice as a court deputy registrar. So basically I am in self-defense mode. Basically why I'm doing all this is because I'm defending my property, which is my entity, my ideas, anything to do with me that's tangible. Basically everything just to do with me as an individual, my individual civil rights as an individual and a New Zealand citizen. So basically this here is from the Crimes Act, and I'm dealing with before and after the fact, well mostly after the facts, factual incidents. So basically the case is after the fact. Just for a tip for the day, anything incidents to do with that's in a criminal offence can be dealt with after the fact. There's sufficient evidence to prove a culpable homicide, then whoever is the barrister has a case against whoever it is that has committed. But according to the law, I am within my right to defend myself And doing my court case public is to get an audience, witnesses, and also for intervention for safety reasons, for quite obvious reasons, because it's cybercrime by body corporates. So my case goes all the way to 2006, but the reason why IPCA and New Zealand Police are criminally responsible for what I've been through is because they've failed me. I don't care what their excuse is. They failed me. They left me in there and allowed me to suffer what I suffered while I was working for the employer. But it's allowed me to also to understand this new age system that is actually illegal. It's actually global, and it's actually very serious and very dangerous. So I am within my right to stand against what everyone has used me for, like a product to promote others, or for illegal Commonwealth games and relationship scams. It is a global game because they've used me like a product. People have used me for movie ideas. Singers have used me for their lyrics, like a game using substitutes. So it's definitely home invasion. Okay, this here is in the Crimes Act. It says everyone is justified to defence of himself or herself or another, such as force or circumstances as he or she believes them to be, it is reasonable to use. So in this point, I am actually a whistleblower. If you watch my last video clip, I went over what a whistleblower is. So I'm saying in my case, I'm alleging that while I was working for my employer, secret societies were using me against my will for relationship scams, obviously in funding money stolen, using my identity, and stealing from my bank accounts, and other serious offences. Okay, this here is the, I'm a whistleblower, but I've been going through all the laws that is applicable in my case for investigation, and anything to do with taxpayers' money, public funding. That is what a protected disclosure is for, to find out whether money laundering has taken place, or to find out whether the person used for money laundering is true and has taken place. If so, then those responsible for basically accessing money that doesn't belong to them can be charged for money laundering, and other criminal offences can be laid against whoever is doing it. But this here is section 309. It's conspiring to prevent collection or rates or taxes. Basically it means when people work for the government, everyone is entitled to a set amount of entitlement to taxes according to the law. So anything that an individual is entitled to the law, according to the law, they're entitled to it. It doesn't belong to anyone else. It belongs purely just to the individual. But I know that people have used me for money laundering, and then they've secretly split the money between themselves, and using my identity, pinning me down. So that is my case. It is a trafficking ring. It's a matter of me proving it to the courts, a criminal case. Okay, I know no one likes to be pointed as a defendant, but my case is a real-life criminal case. So as the victim of crimes, I'm entitled to describe my crime scene, and I'm not the type of I'm not afraid of people who's committed some pretty serious offences in the moment when I'm by myself. So I can easily describe and identify who I believe, have a reason to believe is behind what I'm going through. But yes, it's definitely a combination of many extremists from different cults and culture. Okay, they've paired up together like in partnership. They've turned myself into like a product, like a business object, and then they promote themselves and have coded me using words. So when they are actually talking about me, I can actually tell they're talking about me because it's a coding system, and I've actually had to denounce the coding system, because in a criminal case that involves conspiracy offences, that is considered as a breach. That's a breach. It's a felony, and the investigator who has to find out how is the breach is actually got out, because everyone's entitled to privacy. Unfortunately, they've used me for a very long time, so I've suffered greatly, and there's been a great loss. So basically, when you're working for the government, this here is in the Crown Entities Act 2004. Obviously, they're expected to do duty to act with honesty and integrity. So everybody, public officer or law enforcer, they're actually ordered by their acts. They can get themselves in trouble if they are linked to a conspiracy of any kind. What I have discovered in this new age system, the opponent are actually disguising by way of branding themselves as brands, like they're branding themselves as objects, but they're actually the opponent, inciting to let the public know an update about a game or to seek help, but that is a breach. Okay, so this here is in the Crown's Entity Act 2004. This is applicable to every single person in government, every single individual. As an individual, even in hub desks, even if you don't have a law and enforcement powers behind you, you are accountable on this law. As a member of a statutory entity, you must be acting as a member of Act with honesty and integrity, meaning this even includes people's private information. You're not allowed to use that for your own personal use, or to leak to other people. That is none of their business. So basically, it's all about making the right decisions in the moment, and your acts also. But yeah, the laws are pretty strict, and it's actually really easy to commit a felony. But in saying that, you could be like what I've done. I've just minded my own business all these years, and I didn't realize. Well, I knew something was wrong. Going back to my video clips in 2010, I did say in one of my videos that it was like 2010, all hell broke loose. And when I think about what I went through at that point of time of that year, I didn't understand it. But now that I'm actually out of it, I can actually understand now why I felt that way. I was actually under acts of terrorism. So my case is definitely a human trafficking in persons case. Okay, so many secret societies, many countries, many people globally have used me for a pecuniary advantage, and the penalty is 20 years imprisonment. So there's been a clear case of gradually stealing, and that's very easy for me to prove. Yes, I have my court cases, and my personal property has all the evidence of being blacklisted. So if you think you're blacklisted, you will go through what I've been through. It's just a matter of building a case and putting everything together. Okay, definitely discriminated, and things have been life-threatening, slavery, and also I put here killing by influencing the mind. I feel with what I've gone through is so intimate, the psychological intimate abuse. I feel that they have tried to influence my mind to make me commit suicide. So the intimacy of victimization is so intimate, it's immediate. It is culpable homicide. Offences definitely has occurred. I am being animate or inanimate, so everything is personal. And it's definitely a dangerous to my life. And they've used me for relationship scams, and for other scams where they twin me and then they switch. So this here is a definition of organized crimes. Okay, organized crimes, with what I've gone through, it's really easy to commit without you realizing you're actually under acts of terrorism. I definitely can prove it now that I understand exactly what I'm going through. Quite clear that for the opponent to actually win what they've won and getting people over on their side, they must first, defamation, ruin people's reputation, so nobody will believe them, or nobody would go on their side, or anything. So that's what's actually happened to me with them turning me into a product. It's so intimate, and the defamation is so intimate, so personal. It's been going on for such a long time. I'm very lucky to even be alive today, but I oppose all that. So they've definitely stolen my identity, and that's not hard for me to prove. Yes, they've assassinated my reputation, and that is a conspiracy. The whole purpose of this game is to put other people off me, or it's character assassin. Okay, it's everything premeditated act of killing someone suddenly and secretly, and the opponent's tool is destroying someone's reputation by lies. Okay. This is even like in evidence on documentation. So the unlawful strikes or the judgments made by all the judges have ruined my reputation, and I'm opposing all that. And the unfortunate reality is it's been a global public game. So little did I know, while I was working for my employer, I was being singled out, and different people were studying me, stalking me, and just pinning me down. And that's the actual case. That's the actual real life scenario of what has happened to me historically. So it's been a global game. We've had different, they call themselves hosts or agents or sponsors. They've also changed the legislation and the court system to allow what I've gone through happen to other people. But the criminal pack and the suicidal pack is the public scrutiny. So it's definitely fighting global hostage taking. So basically I can prove they've been pinned down while people are hostage taking, okay? Also, people have used me for movie ideas. That's illegal unless I've given consent. You can do that or use me for those reasons. Okay, relationship scams. Obviously, betrayal has taken place. And that is privacy breaches within your family. Those hosts and those agents are actually using your friends and your families against you. And everybody participate for their own purposes, or end up siding because they don't want to lose their job, or they think that they're going to get away with it. Some may have committed perjury or bias, or have accepted money or something in exchange for the betrayal. So over time, due to criminal negligence, a criminal pack will obviously accumulate and endanger the original or the victim. Now, I have had it on my heart, been thinking a lot about all of you know that I am a Christian, and I have to actually talk about the evidence in the middle while I was working for my employer and while I was at church. Okay, so I believe that there's been home invasion in the church at that time through the cybercrime, the cyberbullying, and the breaches. I believe that there were people in government linking to people in the church at that time, sharing information. So what I've gone through, people are sharing information all the time because I'm the object. So this is what's actually caused the intimacy of the abuse, and this is what has caused the intimacy with the relationship globally because of the coding. It's a mixture of extremists, and some people, they use the Bible as an excuse for their own selfish self-seeking needs, or their own self-seeking reasoning or inclinations, whatever that may be. But they have used the relationship scam on me or another, or the opponent, or whoever the woman is, obviously to steal. But some cultures, they interpret this verse here. It says that then the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. This verse here, I have a reasonable belief that whoever's behind what I'm going through dug up my past because they want to see whether I'm good enough, or whatever it is they think, whether I'm good enough to even pray publicly or preach the gospel of Jesus Christ publicly, and then obviously they've dug up my past and found out I was raped, or found out other things about my medical records, and they don't think that I actually qualify. I can actually prove their coding going back to John Key, when he was a minister, because people were actually coding my medical records in reference to me as part of the game. But I wanted to denounce the devil using this, because this is not what it means. It says here that they think that everyone has to be virgins to make it into heaven. It doesn't work like that. It was not even what Jesus meant. Although he just used a virgin as far as describing sin. And sin is living in craftiness, and what everyone did to Jesus, that is sin. Pride, jealousy, and envy. Some people are so self-righteous that they think they're all right. So they've used me for that. This is where they've used me for relationship scams. Other cultures are interpreting that, and so they all see me, or they're interpreting a whistleblower as someone as enemy of the state, or someone that has to be killed because they know too much. But they are animating or inanimate me. And I just wanted to denounce this verse, or explain what it actually means. That is not what that verse means, that unless only virgins are going to make it to heaven, because that's what people have used me for. So they've made me look like I'm dirty or disgusting, or so that's why everyone with the same mindset have all attacked me for religious cult reasons, okay? But it goes to show how deceitful people are, or easily deceived. But I know that some cultures have this belief here, and they don't believe in remarried or people getting married again. Well, I'm divorced. I've been divorced since 2006. But the relationship scam, I believe this is what I've been used for, and then they get the public to vote on who should live and who should die. Obviously, all that is against the law in this generation, just like in Jesus' generation. But in this generation, the human rights and the Bill of Rights protects every single individual's liberty. Okay, so I oppose all that, and I'm denouncing all that, and I wanted to just confirm I just wanted to confirm Luke 17:21. Jesus actually said that the kingdom of God is within you. He is talking about the heart, okay? So God is actually looking at our heart. He's not looking at a corpse. I know that this public criminal alliance that's up against me opposes me because of my age, because of my nationality, or whatever reason it is, but also it's because they've all secretly stolen from me, and I don't want my past to be dug up and find out who's behind the stealing. The old criminal courts, which is Department of Courts, anything such as serious like mine, if there's any inch of serious crime of murder or money laundering, everything about the individual is dug up and everyone is made accountable according to the law. But I've also discovered that they do all these secret petition as a way of getting public votes to stop something from happening, and I believe they've done that with me. So a massive cover-up has taken place, and I oppose that. Okay, these people have made links to people's family members. There's something in it for them. If it's about money laundering or whatever it is, that's illegal. So I stand against that, and so what they're actually doing is illegal petitions on individuals' court cases. They're taking advantage of somebody who wants to go forward, but they keep pinning me down or stop me from advancing. I can't even get a job because of the intimate defamation or everyone that is involved in keeping me suppressed or oppressed. Okay, so I been doing a little bit of research because I felt what started with what's going on with me did start going back to 2006, and I have a reason to believe it links to the church at that point of time, spiritually speaking. I believe other cultures and religions all joined forces to take me down. But in Ephesians 5:8-14 it says, "For you were once darkness, but you are now light in the Lord. Walk as children in the light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness, righteousness, and truth, finding out what is acceptable to the Lord, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness." If you've been watching me on my Facebook page, the unfruitful works of darkness is obviously living in craftiness, participating in criminal acts. Like, that is what they're actually done to me, and I oppose all that. But it also says, I'll keep reading, it says, but rather expose them. So that is what I'm doing. I'm walking in the light. I'm exposing the opponent's criminal tactic, because that's what it is. It's linking to the substitute, linking to my court cases too. So it says here, "For it is shameful even to speak of those things which are done by them in secret, but all things that are exposed are made manifest by the light, and whatever makes manifest is light. Therefore he says, awake, you who sleep, arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light. Walk in wisdom." The civil jurisdiction, when the Crown is the defendant, the civil jurisdiction is actually purposed for to give the Crown the opportunity to put things right. Okay, to pay the victim or pay whoever they've allegedly have committed offence. Now, those behind the scene or those handling my cases, they think that they can help each other by sabotaging and breaking the law, but they are also accountable to the law. But there is a clause in the High Court rules that clearly indicates that to save the Crown, the defendant, embarrassment, okay, because what they've done to me secretly is an embarrassment to the Crown. We all know that the Crown is the government, and And it doesn't matter what generation we live in, we all know that majority of the people in public oppose corruption. So when they're doing the opposite, they're actually publicly committing criminal offences, and that is what I'm doing. I'm exposing it. They've made me out to be the enemy. They've turned my good work into like I'm the devil. But that's because of the defamation and their belief of they think that the public should vote for the younger female, or some of these people are actually setting up younger women for other men. So that's what I'm up against, and I'm denouncing that because one, I'm entitled to happiness, and two, it's none of their business who I have a relationship with, and three, they're committing very serious breaches. And so I denounce that. I don't care who's behind the coding. I denounce it. But this is what you do in a conspiracy. Find out who is the criminal alliance linking. Find out who's doing the animate or inanimate. Because to do that is actually a conspiracy. I actually tried to convince the judge that what I'm going through is animate or inanimate. And I can honestly say, because the judge was a civil judge, I don't believe the judge realised what that actually means. So when I was doing my court cases for New Zealand Police and IPCA, I tried my best to convince the judge that my case is definitely a criminal case, and that New Zealand Police and IPCA has no case to answer. But in saying that, cases like mine, usually it's a finable charge, what they've done, and so it is homicide. And and if someone does die, like if I die of a heart attack, or they let me die because I'm pregnant, okay? I'm definitely pregnant. I will swear on the Bible I am. I know they want me dead to be able to get away with there's money whether I'm dead or alive. So to them, I'm just an object. But if I do die, that's culpable homicide, and that makes everyone who knew about what I'm going through accountable for my death. But I'm okay, guys. I'm just waiting for God to move and to get me out of this. So this here is it's in the Crimes Act. Okay, so I hope this helps everyone. I also know I'm supposed to be doing this to interpret what the actual laws means. Everyone's entitled to protect themselves, no matter who it is, whether people like you or not. Okay, I'm just looking in the Crimes Act, see homicide. Homicide is the killing of a human being by another, whether it's done directly or indirectly. So this actually means those that are micromanaging me. I know when people are micromanaging me. I know when someone's not natural, or somebody's in my space on behalf of another person carrying out their plans. The coding, and then all the gangs, like somebody's giving gangs a job to actually do the micromanaging, the spying in my space. But if I die, whether I die of a heart attack or stress, or because I'm pregnant, if the baby dies and we both die, that's a double homicide. And so there's this here, that those people would be charged with murder, obviously, homicide by any means to do what I'm going through, because there's a clear case of a malfunction of the system. My case has gone through 19 judges, have all witnessed it. And it does go back to 2010 with Unison Dance Crew and all the court deputy registrar who sabotaged my case, going back that far. So that is my predicament. I've also found a lot of people of like altering, concealing and destroying, and reproducing documents with intent to deceive. So that has taken place in my personal property. So I feel in my heart I have to personally do this and make those responsible accountable, because I know how things should be and what it should look like. So it's 10 years penalty for anyone who does that secretly. So my case is a criminal case because of the criminal negligence of my situation right now. So I've suffered massive mental injury. Okay, so it's been amazing really to compare the Bible and the laws together and why they actually mean and what they came out about. But from my own personal experience, it's the character of Jesus is why the laws are relating to what he went through personally, by everyone. Obviously, we all know what happened to him was really bad. So just recently I've been struggling with depression and just things have been so overwhelming. So me announcing how I feel, and announcing the things that I'm going through, I'm actually walking in the light. My personal walk is with God, is between me and God. It's not with anyone else. I'm not accountable for you, and you're not accountable for me. But this verse here, basically, so Ephesians 6:12, it goes, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts and wickedness in the heavenly places." That is so true. Okay, on a spiritual realm, that is absolutely true. But in saying that, these cybercrime, they are human beings operating secretly, and it's basically recognizing their acts, whether they're good or evil. So that's why I've been denouncing those privacy breaches as things happen. But yes, I've suffered great spiritual abuse by everyone. So we're looking at body corporate trafficking in persons cohesion. There's sufficient evidence for me to actually press criminal charges against all the other body corporates if that's the route I decide to go through. So at this point in time, my situation is very serious. I'm resting, but I have been struggling in the last week or two with depression, overwhelmed by everything, just overwhelmed, obviously. But I'm just taking one day at a time and just going with the flow and with whatever, for whichever my direction goes. But it's a clear case of human trafficking in persons, and there's a 20-year penalty or a fine behind this. So this here, it says trafficking in people by means of coercion or deception. Yes, the Ministry of Justice can get charged for this, and in their part of blacklisting a person. So definitely oppression is involved, okay? It's horrific. It's the best way for me to describe oppression is when you know you're doing everything right, everything within your power right to get yourself out of the situation that I'm in, only to have everything declined, okay? That's pretty cruel, and it's been intentionally prolonged, and it's cruel and unjust treatment or exercise of authority. However, I do know who my opponents are, and I'm going to go through the criminal process to to have everything turned over, or to claim my property rights as an individual, and obviously my court cases. Okay.